But you know what's funny? The reason why I put Drake on the homepage feature because we saw this kid and he was getting millions of plays in Toronto giving away his mixtapes for free. And then I was like researching him. They're like that he's not
Yeah,
going to
because
do
I
it.
remember that you did an interview with Drake on MySpace. I remember that interview. What am I talking about? What year was that? That had to have been like '07.
Yeah, it was his very first online interview. It's really crappy. You know those old interviews that look crappy, but you don't want to take it down because it's so memorable. You know,
Hey,
I told Drake, I was like, I can't find you anywhere, but here we are. Can we do this interview? And he was so excited to break down his top eight. And then the first thing I asked him is because I heard worst case, or no, closer. And then remember that line in there where he sampled Guapole, but he goes, I'm walking into the club with
yep.
Filipinos is the worst case. And I said, are you dissing Filipinos? And then speaking
No.
of speaking of Filipino wokeness, he's like, no, all my friends are Filipino.
Yeah,
So
his best friend.
Nico,
His
yeah.
best friend, the guy that told him to get a haircut when he was on Degrassi with the little shag, the guy who told him to get a lineup, my boy Nico, my brother Nico, who actually just celebrated a birthday.
Happy birthday, Nico.
Yeah, that's why, he talks about that because Nico's one of his best friends. And, Nico actually grew up in Scarborough, which is, in Toronto, with all the other, um, ethnicities, such as, Jamaicans and the Trinis and, all the islander people from the West Indies. And, I got to actually go over there on my very first time in Toronto in 2011 because Nico actually showed me around. And Toronto has a lot of culture. I love Toronto.
Oh, it's one of the most beautiful places. It's super clean, it's very cultural, and very happy to be Filipino. And it was great to hear from Drake. He was talking about he had Filipino friends, and then when they walk in, there's sometimes they don't get along, and that's basically the theme of what had happened there. But you had a really close relationship since day one with him. We're going to talk a little bit about the motto, but how did that begin specifically? I mean, so it was really you
Well,
discovered him on MySpace, and then he came to the station. What was it that
no,
brought this
here,
thing?
here's how the stars align. So, anybody who knows Crooks and Castles, shout out to D. Yeah, shout out to D. Shout out to Rob. Shout out to everybody at Crooks, and of course, shout out to my brother Woo. They actually connected me with Drake. I met Drake a long time ago, actually. So when Drake was on tour with Lil Wayne in '07, when Wayne was doing that tour, that Carter 3 tour, Drake was actually on the tour with him. And I met Drake at the Palms in Dr. Dre's suite, actually, when Dr. Dre was working on Detox years ago. We're talking about '08, '07. No, this is '08. This is '08. Maybe even '09 actually. But whenever the song Every Girl, we like her
Okay,
too.
yeah.
Yeah. So that song right there, whenever that song came out, that's when Drake was on tour with Lil Wayne. So I met him there, and then I met him in Miami at a Khaled video shoot. I've known Khaled forever. Shout out to DJ Khaled. And then when they came to Vegas, Crooks and Castles actually linked me with him. So I hooked up with him. I hooked up with Nico. I hooked up with CJ, who is still Drake's road manager. And the rest is history. Like since that very first time we met up in Vegas, the rest is history.
Oh, it was definitely a moment where what made an exciting time during Drake was he was definitely one of the artists that was giving a lot of his music away for free. We worked with BET to make him the rookie artist of the year during those years. But I really like the relationship that you developed over the years, and you were actually a part of the song "The Motto." And I posted that today because a lot of people don't know, that line specifically when he says "Me, Molly Molly, and Franny at the Cribbo."
Yeah.
Explain how that went down because you didn't just weren't a part of that. You weren't just there, but you helped select the beat that he chose because that song is one of the dopest songs. And then what I want to talk to you about is because he actually shot the music video in the Bay Area. He had E40, Mr. Fab in it. Were you also a part of that? Of just like
definitely. I got everybody together for that video.
Tell the story, Franny. I want you to tell the story.
I actually chose the locations for that video. Myself and my brother Gino, we chose the location. Gino actually helped him look for, locations weeks before the motto was actually, filmed. And it was a cold day in the Bay that day. I'll never forget that day.
But
It was
break down
crazy.
how
And my phone, let me tell you something. My phone was blowing up. Like, where you at? Where you at? Where you at? We know you're in the Bay. Where you at? And it was just one of those situations where, once you tell somebody, everybody's gonna know. So,
but you
you
and are the project too. Like, how did it come when you heard the beat and you're like, you got to do this one? Because it could have been
well,
any beat, but that beat was
here's the
dope.
thing. Drake came to Vegas for his birthday party in 2011.
Yeah.
So he came out here, a couple days before. He was like, "Yo, you think I could use the studio?" And at the time, me and somebody I used to be involved in business with actually had a studio, at his house. And we used to call that studio the Cribbo.
Mm.
And, Drake was like, "Yo, I'm gonna come out to Vegas, a couple days early. I need to actually record this hook for Rick Ross. Can I use the studio?" What am I gonna say? No. I was like, come through. So he came, and so we hop in the studio, and he's playing a folder of just beats, and he's playing a couple of other beats, and then he goes to that one beat. He was like, and T Minus sent me a couple of beats. I was like, let me hear them. T Minus actually did "I'm on One." I don't know if you guys know that song. I'm on with the DJ Khaled.
They're dropping holla hollows. They know that. We're up to 1190, by the way, on Kumu. But go ahead, Franz.
Oh man, shout out to everybody in the Philippines. So he comes to Vegas, he plays the beats, and he plays the mono beat. And I'm like, yo, what is this? And that was at the time when, a lot of the Bay Area stuff was getting ran. And I brought that whole Bay Area movement out here, by the way, the whole hyphy movement. But he was like, man, you like that? I was like, bro, that sounds special. I told him, you might have to record something over that. So he asked me, I'll never forget. He was like, "You got your laptop here?" I was like, "Yeah." He asked me, "Yo, can you play a couple Mac Dre songs for me?" So I ran through like 6 to 7 Mac Dre records, but he's heard all of them before, but he was like, "Yeah, that's the one I was looking for." It was Feeling Myself. So he was like, "Okay, play the beat." He told the engineer to play the beat. And next thing you know, and by the way, I have all this documented on my laptop. On Take Care's 10-year anniversary, I will release that footage. I've never told anybody this before, but I recorded that whole entire studio session on my laptop. That's in my house in the safe. So next year, we're talking about 2021, when we celebrate Take Care 10-year anniversary, I'm unleashing that footage.
Oh, please do. Well, it's good to know.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even, you didn't just, not just that line, but the Mac Dre line. And then how did the inspiration come of like, we should shoot this in the Bay? Was it from that? And you're like talking about, just the tone of the song? Because, that definitely had a definitely Bay feel where he's Bay feel when he's driving down the bridge. And like, people were happy because they hadn't seen, there was a bigger appreciation, I think, on the West Coast after that video, specifically for Drake,
Oh, most definitely. And by the way, he recorded that song in one take. So
Yes.
what you guys hear, what you guys actually hear on the album, that's the only recording he's got of his verse. That one take, and that was it. That's all it took him. And I was amazed. And I seen this dude write. He took his BlackBerry out. He's listening to the beat, and no more than 15 minutes later, he's hopping in the booth, and it's crazy because he didn't even tell me he was going to say my name in the song. I just heard it because he said it. I was like, oh shit! He actually said the people he shouted out in that song, every single individual that was shouted out in that song was in the studio while he recorded that.
And
so that's why he did that. And the people he shouted out, like Gibbo and Neeks and Chubbs, like those are his best friends. Those are people he's still around till this day. Those are people I can actually text. If I can't get a hold of Drake, those are the people that I text like, "Yo, what's going on?" You know what I mean?
And for anybody that's watching, so Nico is Drake's best friend that's Filipino. If you ever watched his impersonation of Manny Pacquiao, I think it was during the NBA awards, Nico's in that video.
Oh my goodness. Tito Ness. That is Tito Ness.
And it's Drake knows that because he's been to many a Filipino household and experienced those things.
And actually, you know what? To everybody in the Philippines, I have something very special. So, back in those days, we had Blackberries.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
The
And
BBM.
yeah, the BBM. So he used to send me. He used to just send me. That's how we used to communicate. We didn't text each other. He would, send me a BlackBerry message. And I remember one time, and I never forget this moment because I recorded it and I kept it in my Serato for the longest. Now here's Drake singing. This is, mind you, this is in 2010 when he sent me this. This is 10 years ago when he sent me this. This is him singing his rendition in his Filipino accent. Not Forever, it's called Forever.
May not mean nothing to you, but understand nothing was done for me. I don't plan on stopping at all. I want this shit forever, man. I'm shutting shit down in the mall and telling bye-bye they're the ones for me.
Oh, classic.
Yeah, so he's on point with his Filipino accent. Like he can really get down with it. And every time I see him, it's a must that we talk to each other in our Filipino accent. It's the funniest shit ever. And you know what? Next time I see him, now that I got Twitch, that's like part of the Franny Cam now. Like every time I see Drake, come on, you got to say something.
There we go. That since the Ustream to a Twitch. But the question that I asked, because we worked on Manny Pacquiao's after party when we had Sweetie and Pilo perform, and then I also had Manny Pacquiao when we had the Filipino Heritage Night at the LA Clippers, which Franny, you got to play with us one year. But have they ever met? Because have you seen the reaction video when Manny watches the video and he asks the friend, he goes, and he's laughing and he said, is this like a rapper or something?
I remember seeing that. And you know what?
I want Manny and Drake to meet if they haven't yet. Let's make it happen.
I got to make that happen. And you know why I got to make it happen? Because I have never met Manny Pacquiao.
And you're Manny Pacquiao.
In my whole entire life, that's probably him. There's him, Denzel. There's a couple of people I really want to just want to vibe with because I just, I feel their energy. And Manny is somebody that's on my bucket list for many years. Like for many years, I've wanted to meet him, but it's just never been like we've never been in the same room, and it's just never happened. Another guy is Joe Coy too. I've never met Joe Coy, but like we know of each other, right? We know of each other, but I've never met Joe Coy.
And
that's another person. Legends. That guy is killing it right now. That guy is killing it.
Okay, we're gonna make all of this happen. So, Franny, part of my inspiration and working with the Filipino community, because you've known me for a long time, is that I took a trip to the Philippines with Joe Coy on that trip, but you were busy.
Yeah, I know.
But I definitely want to make this happen. Like
we have to, you know what? Next year we have to make this happen because now. I have all these wonderful supporters from all over. I want to go to Australia. I want to go to New Zealand. I want to go to Belgium. I want to go to the United Kingdom. Like, I want to go to France. I want to go to India. Like, there's so many places. Yeah. Like, there's so many people to meet now. Yeah. That's a part of this whole family movement on Twitch. And I don't care if it's 4 or 5 people that that live in that area. I want to meet them. I want to fly to that city to meet those 4 or 5 people because I want them to know that they mean everything to me,
We're gonna make that happen. Right. Let's play The Motto by Drake. And this whole song was inspiration and it was put together, now we know, by Franny. But let's watch the video.
Yo, what's up, Franny, man? You understand me? Exactly. You understand me? OnTheCase.com, man. You understand me? We out here in the area. This boy Drake right here. You understand me? Scorpios, we got the boy Fab right here. We got Aquarius, mob. You understand me? Gemini like it. Yeah, Droopy Aquarius too. Hey. Wants to show up.
Drizzy got love for the Bay, and the Bay got love for Drizzy, man, all day, man.
Yeah. Right on.
Congratulations, bro.
The young G's, respect the OGs. You know what I mean? Because we make each other better, man. You smell me? Like that. That's where it's at.
Yes, sir.
It's all love.
Oh, boy.
And I'm feeling myself. Rest in peace, Mac Dre. I'ma do it for the Bay. Franny and Molly Mall at the cribbo. Shot goes out to Nico, J, and Chubb. Shot to Gibbo.